we must ask President Trump, President Putin, President Xi Jinping, President Macron, and United Kingdom's Prime Minister, what is the purpose of the UN Security Council? Why don't you meet? Why don't you stop these wars?
A blistering global attack has just come from Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, openly slamming the US-Israel war against Iran as madness and calling out the world's most powerful leaders for what he sees as total failure.
Brazil is among the countries least affected by the madness of the war with Iran. We are not suffering from rising oil prices as other countries are currently doing.
Speaking at Hanover Messe, Lula warned the world is now facing its worst conflict phase since World War II, then went straight for the jugular. He publicly challenged Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, Emmanuel Macron, and the UK Prime Minister, demanding, what is the purpose of the UN Security Council?
I speak to you as the president of a country that produces a great deal of oil. We believe it is urgently necessary to find a way to use clean energy sources if we want to save humanity. It's not possible that we are spending $2.7 trillion on wars and nothing for cleaning up the planet. It's not possible. Today, the world is experiencing the highest level of conflict in history since World War II. We must ask President Trump, President Putin, President Xi Jinping, President Macron, and United Kingdom's Prime Minister, what is the purpose of the UN Security Council? Why don't you meet? Why don't you stop these wars?
In a separate address in Brazil, he doubled down, accusing global powers of reckless unilateral moves that are fueling chaos and sidelining international institutions. A direct hit, no diplomacy, just a sitting president torching the world order and daring the most powerful men on the planet to answer.
From any nation, anywhere in the entire world, regardless of how powerful or influential their position may be, has the right to continuously impose their own specific rules and regulations upon other independent nations. And none. And the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council must convene to fundamentally change their behavior. We simply cannot wake up each and every morning and then go to bed each and every night, with a tweet from a president of the republic threatening the entire world.
Engaging in warfare.
That is to say, they all make their decisions without consulting the UN, of which they are members and are part of the Security Council.
Who did Bush ask for permission to invade Iraq? Nobody. Where are the chemical weapons that were supposed to be in Iraq? There were none.
Who exactly did France and England ask permission to invade Libya? No one. What harm was Gaddafi actually causing at that time? Absolutely none. Who did Putin ask for permission to invade Ukraine? Absolutely no one. Who did Trump ask for permission to invade Iran? From no one. Who did Israel ask for permission to invade the Gaza Strip as they did? From no one. Who asked for the invasion of Venezuela? No one. What I mean is, these are unilateral decisions that do not respect the forum in which these people participate. And if we don't have a serious discussion about this, absolutely nothing will change. Nothing will change at all. In fact, the situation is only going to get worse. I think this extremism, this disrespect for the UN Charter and for harmony among nations is very, very dangerous in the world we live in. Today we have more armed conflicts. We are currently at a point in history experiencing the largest number of armed conflicts globally since the conclusion of the Second World War. And the United Nations Security Council does not hold its meetings. Its permanent members do not attend. It's always just the ambassador's representative. And when you try to approve something, there is the right of veto, and it simply doesn't function because any single member can veto. And how many years have we been trying to change the number of countries in the UN? Where is the African representation? Just on the African continent, there are 3 countries with over 120 million people. Where is the participation of Mexico, of Brazil, of Argentina, of Colombia? Where is India's participation? So many important countries, Germany, Japan, Indonesia. All these countries could participate. And why doesn't it change? When the subprime crisis happened in 2008, we created the G20. For what? To try to resolve the crisis. We tried to change the IMF, we tried to change the World Bank, but nothing changed. So I believe that this democracy, the democracy that we as heads of state must discuss and must demand that the UN Secretary General, convenes extraordinary meetings, even without asking the 5 members of the Security Council. The UN cannot remain silent and simply watch what is happening in the world. Trump invades Iran, and then suddenly bean prices rise in Brazil, corn prices go up in Mexico, and gasoline becomes more expensive in another country. In other words, it's the poor who will ultimately pay for the irresponsibility of wars that nobody truly wants. It's this democratic behavior that countries have that we truly need to discuss with great seriousness. The world doesn't need war, but the world's problems. The problem of multilateralism, it's not an internal problem for Mexico or an internal problem for Spain. It's a problem, for the United Nations. It's about respect for the UN Charter. I ask all of you who are members to read the UN Charter and read the decision that created the Security Council with a permanent member. Read it. And if you do not feel you are truly fulfilling your duty, then you must resign, or we will change the UN Charter once and for all. What simply cannot be allowed, what absolutely cannot be allowed, is for the world to be spending $2.7 trillion on weapons, while so many people are suffering from hunger. What we cannot have is us talking about decarbonizing planet Earth, while you gentlemen are dropping bombs every blessed day in every single country. What we cannot allow is Lebanon to be a victim of every war Israel fights with someone. The final shot always has to be in Lebanon. Meaning? Where are we going to make our decisions? Where are we going to stop? I am just appalled. I am truly astonished by the silence of people, for not saying anything at all. As if they're trying to hide from something they don't want to talk about.
And we have to talk to each other daily.
Brazil, I want to tell you all, Brazil does not want war with the United States. I do not want war with China. I do not want war with Russia. I do not want war with Uruguay. I do not want war with Uruguay. In other words, I don't want war. I want peace. I want peace. I want my country to develop. I want my people to live well, to be able to study. That's what you all want. I don't want war with Albania, comrade. I don't want to.
I don't want war, Evo Morales shouldn't want to wage war with me, because I don't want war with Bolivia either. But we have to say this every day, because every day we are threatened. Every day we are threatened, and there's no international forum to discuss it.
So, I want to tell all of you, my dear friends and fellow citizens, that I am in this struggle because I know that individually there is no way out for any of us. Individually, there is no way out for any of us. Do you understand? And the other thing that is also very important, here in Brazil, we are discussing the work schedule, the end of the 6x1 work schedule.
but because it appears to me that the technological advancement and the toxic impact of our industrial output is only ever truly advantageous for the rich. However, for the impoverished, it offers no real worth whatsoever.
Meaning he doesn't profit because it's the company's highest productivity. All these are topics that we must bring to the table, my dear companion, so that we can try to make democracy regain its credibility. Democracy.
She is slowly losing her credibility because on many occasions she has not given a response
to the aspirations of our society. For this reason, my dear Francesco, once again, from the bottom of my heart, I want to express my sincere gratitude for this meeting. We will be prepared to go to Mexico, even more thoroughly prepared, and who knows, by the time we get there, we might have managed to resolve a significant part of the peace and tranquility in the world.
and we're going to fight, Mapuya, for you to attend the G20 in the United States, because the American president has no right to exclude you from the G20, because he does not own the G20 himself. You understand? So prepare yourself to go to the United States.